Hey guys, welcome. Good to be with you this Friday. Hope you're in for a fantastic weekend. I want to end on a really interesting note. We've been talking about forgiveness, and I have found it quite intriguing about when people forgive, they end up having to forgive again and again and again. And every time a reminder comes up of the incident or the person that they're trying to forgive, the whole process begins all over again. I have a little theory that I thought about today, and I want to just share it with you quickly. In order for anything to happen, there has to be at some stage a full stop put at the end of that sentence. For many people, forgiveness ends with a comma, something still to continue, to the next one, and then comma, next one to continue, comma, next one to continue. I do believe that at some stage, for true forgiveness to be established and for it to be, concreted and made it solid, there has to be a full stop at the end of the sentence. Let me tell you what I think that full stop could be. I do believe that an act of kindness, an act of goodness, an act of charity and love toward the person you're trying to forgive could well be that full stop at the end of the sentence, which will allow you to begin a new sentence afresh and all over again. Otherwise, it's just going to go from comma to another little bit and then comma to another little bit. It never ends. And the means then becomes the end. There's no end to the means. So what I would like to suggest to you is that you think about this. I checked it out in Scripture and found that there are a ton of examples of how this works. For forgiveness to be solidified and to be complete, somebody has to do a good deed to the other. Now, there's a very dramatic example of this, and we shared it last night on Wednesday night at the 70 times 7 session. It's a story that you find in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 6. It's the story of Elisha, one of my favorite characters. And there's a whole lot of humor in this, along with some incredible drama. Elisha, with his servant Gehazi, finds himself in the city of Dothan, surrounded by the king of Aram. King of Aram hated Elisha, wanted to get him, chased him everywhere, seeking to take his life. And he surrounds him in this place. And the servant goes onto the side of the city, I guess, looked down, and in horror, he saw they were surrounded by the huge, powerful army of the king of Aram. He runs back to Elisha and says, Elisha, it's all over. We're dead. We're done. The king of Aram has found us, and it's just a matter of time before you and me are toast. And so the king of Aram surrounds the place. Elisha doesn't even bat an eyelid. Elisha just looks up to heaven and says, oh, Lord, help this guy. Won't you just open Gehazi's eyes and let him see what I know is there? And God opens Gehazi's eyes. You know the story is beautiful. And Gehazi looks up into the heavens and he sees the armies of God all around him, surrounding him. And now his eyes are as big as saucers, and he stutters and says to Elisha, Elisha, now I know why you do not fear, because you know that greater is he who is with us than he who is in the world, or he who is outside of the city wall. Now, for many people, that's the end of the story. But the story gets even better, because they eventually come face to face with this army, and Elisha looks at the oncoming of the army, and with great passive passion, he says to the Lord, won't you just blind their eyes? And so God blinds the eyes of this great army. And all of a sudden, this great army, they can't see where they're going. And he says, hey, guys, let me take you to where you want to go. I know where the guy you're looking for lives. Let me take you there. So they all join hands and they walk out of the city. And he walks them all the way into the camp of Israel. And there's the army. And there's this mighty army of Aram surrounded by the Israelite army. And then in the midst of the surrounding, he prays again. He says, okay, Lord, now you can open their eyes. And the eyes of the men of Aram are open, and they see another enemy that surrounds them there in the middle of the Israelite camps. So the Israelites say, hey, Elisha, what a great victory. We have the power now. we have the power over them to exercise vengeance and to get our own back at these people. And we can do it in one foul swoop. The whole army is here. This is so cool. And so Elisha then says to the king of Israel, says to Elisha, Elisha, can we kill them now? And Elisha says, no, don't kill them. So the king of Israel says to him, what should we do? He says, feed them. Feed them. That's a bit counterintuitive, isn't it? How they go from being threatened to die one minute to a great feast, it says, that the king of Israel organized for the army of Aram. He fed the enemy. Now, there is a beautiful verse that says, instead of fighting with the guy, give him a meal, feed him, look after him, care for him. They did exactly that. And at the end of the chapter, there's a beautiful conclusion to this whole story. After the army had been treated with great kindness, given a great feast after going out there to seek to kill Elisha. And it just simply says this. So the bands from Aram stopped raiding Israel's territory. All of a sudden, those terrorists became friends. All of a sudden, the things that were terrorized them no more. Now, we began the series by talking about being put into torment because of our unforgiveness. When we forgive and we conclude it with a full stop at the end of that miserable sentence, we say, it's done, it's dusted, I've forgiven. Now I'm going to do something good for the guy or the person or the group that I have forgiven. You can walk away saying, that's it. I've crossed the line. I've drawn a line in the sand and I'm on a new journey. Man, I love that. You got to conclude this thing, people. You got to finish it, put a full stop at that end of the sentence, get rid of the comma, and let's do something kind for the person or the persons or the group or the organization that we have to forgive. I'll leave that to your imagination. Now, you're going to have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you in church on Sunday. Bye-bye, everybody.